Hi, everyone. This is Susanna Savage, the NC Pre-K Teacher Quality Specialist at Durham's Partnership for Children. This video is a brief guide to support you in documenting children's development and teaching strategies gold. We'll go over organizing for observation, recording and assessing and teaching strategies gold, and using your documentation to reflect and plan ahead. First, the requirements for documentation. Documentation should be something that you do regularly, an ongoing basis. At a minimum, there should be at least one piece of documentation for each child entered each week in Teaching Strategies Gold. At the end of the quarter, whether that's fall, winter, or spring, there should be at a minimum of 12 pieces of documentation for each child. The documentation must be individualized and include written anecdotal observation notes, possibly photos or videos of the children engaged in classroom experiences, or examples of children's artwork and writing. There should be documentation in each of the 9 domains within each checkpoint period: social, emotional, physical, language, cognitive, literacy, mathematics, science and technology, social studies, and the arts. Documentation should also include preliminary checkpoint levels. Setting up for success. Ask yourself, what tools will you use to record your observations? Who will you observe? What will you observe? And when will you observe? There are several ways that you may work best for you when recording your observations. You may want to use the on-the-spot recording tool provided in the Teaching Strategies Gold Assess area. You can use that tool to assess physical, literacy, and mathematics checkpoints. You may also use the Teaching Strategies Gold app, which allows you to easily enter documentation, even allowing you to dictate the documentation, choose objectives, levels, and upload directly to the digital portfolio of each child. You could use the Assess tab for intentional teaching experiences. You may want to use a camera to take photographs and videos. You could include samples, pictures of the children's work, or you may want to use paper and pens and just write your observation notes and then enter them into Teaching Strategies Gold, either by typing them in or taking a picture and uploading the picture of your notes. Whatever way works best for you. Ask yourself, which students will you observe? What dimensions and objectives might you observe? What are you looking for? And then when? When during the day are you likely to observe these objectives? Handouts of who, what, when are available in the Teacher Resources Google Drive folder at the link on your screen. Here's a picture of one of the handouts. Here you can see broken down the different times of day, the daily events. You can write in what you might observe during those times. Which objectives might you observe during those times of day? And then what resources you might need. When you're writing your anecdotal notes, be sure to stay objective and factual. That means include descriptions of gestures or actions. You can include what the children say, descriptions of their facial expressions, or creations they've made. Be sure to avoid using labels, guessing what the child's intentions were, evaluating them, judgments, and negativities. Here's an example of some quality documentation. As you can see, there are pictures, and the anecdotal note corresponds, lets us know what is happening in the picture. It says Lauren used a glue stick to put glue on a piece of paper she had colored. The teacher asked her, "Where do you want to glue it?" Lauren responded, "On the wheel," placed it glue side down on the wheel in the bigger picture, and patted it down. Now, ask yourself some other questions to be sure that you are getting all the documentation that you need. As a team, who is responsible for gathering documentation and entering it into each child's digital portfolio in TSG? Who is responsible for choosing the preliminary checkpoint levels? Who is responsible for ensuring there is documentation for each child in all 9 domains? When you open your Assess page in Teaching Strategies Gold, you'll see At a Glance, which shows you how much documentation you've completed for each child so far. You may also, from the Reports section, use the Documentation Status Report to let you know if there are areas where you need to fill in with more observational notes. In Teaching Strategies Gold and Creative Curriculum, assessment is what guides the curriculum and your weekly lesson plans. Using your documentation and your preliminary checkpoint levels will help you to plan purposefully and intentionally for your large and small group activities, as well as identify goals and activities for children's individual child plans. It's also an excellent way to share information with families about what they are doing, their children are doing in school. Use the information to create the development and learning report that you may use at your quarterly parent-teacher conferences. Finally, if you would like more support on how to add documentation into Teaching Strategies Gold, you may use the link shown on your screen now.